Hello, Las Vegas, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Golf at the Park, Angel Park Golf Club's weekly interview show. I want to thank you for tuning in, liking and commenting on these videos, also subscribing. It means a lot, and we really appreciate all of you for enjoying this long-form content. Today's going to be fun, so right off the top, I want to introduce Alejandra Barnard to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate you having me.
This is going to be fun.
Yes.
I've through research of you, we just met this morning, but I've seen how poised you are in interview form. So I'm not worried about you being nervous. I feel like this is going to go pretty well. You're really good at telling your story. And that's the only preface that I'm going to give. One of her stories on YouTube or videos on YouTube that's a longer form content piece is titled From Scratch to 30. And I thought after I watched the interview, that was a really clever way of saying you came from scratch until you turned 30 when you started playing golf. But it was a typo, right?
Yes,
and you don't necessarily look at it the way that I perceived it, because you went from 30 when you started playing golf to scratch at 37.
Yes.
So I love just pointing that out because I think this story is going to be a lot of fun and interesting. So on that note, now it's time to hear it in your words. So tell us a little bit about your background.
So it's true. I started golf at the age of 30, and I went from being a 40-plus handicap to 0 in 7 years. And
That's insane.
I don't like to say this, but I also like to say this because I think I would have been able to reach that goal a lot sooner if I hadn't been playing the back tees. So once I started playing golf, maybe 2 or 3 years later, I started moving up further back.
So you started at the back.
Yes,
Wow.
exactly. Yeah.
That's rare.
So at that time, I had the distance. Obviously, when you're first starting out, you struggle with distance, and I struggled just like any woman with distance. But when you start taking lessons and when you start improving, you'll notice that the ball starts going further. And so the further I started going, the further back I started playing. And so, yeah, I think I would have been able to accomplish scratch golf for maybe by 5 years of playing golf.
Well, you are already a very accomplished golfer, so we'll get to that in a minute. But I kind of want to hear a little bit about where you were born, when you moved to the United States, and just a little backstory before 30. We don't have to do a lot. If you were athletic before 30 in different sports, I'm just curious about your backstory before we get to golf.
Yes, so I'm originally from Oaxaca, Mexico, which is way south, close to Guatemala. That's where I was born, and I was brought to the U.S. when I was 3 years old. English is my second language. A lot of people don't know that. So when I came to the U.S., I didn't speak a word of English. And I still remember the school and the teacher who taught me how to speak English.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's so neat. You still remember the teacher?
Absolutely. We still follow each other on
What was
social
their
media.
name? What's their name?
Her name is Angie Acuna.
Angie Acuna. Shout out.
Yes.
That is so cool.
Yes. I still remember her giving me the cards and showing me A is for apple and antelope.
That is great. And you remember that at 4 or 5?
I think
or
I was
whenever?
like 5 or 6.
Yeah,
yes.
as soon as you start
yes.
getting into
yes.
school and learning. And you, when you first moved to America, you started in Compton?
So we moved to LA, very, very bad part of LA. I mean, at that point, I was, like I said, I came to the U.S. when I was 3, so we kind of moved around a little bit. But the beginning of my childhood, most of my memories are from Compton.
Wow.
That's where I learned how to speak English. That's where I went to a Christian school. We lived in this house in a really bad neighborhood for Mexican people. And so we were threatened with our lives almost daily.
So you're the minority with within a minority community, just a different minority.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. Well, I mean, back in that day, if you lived in the wrong community as a Mexican or white or black, you could be in big trouble.
Yeah,
And
yeah. In
so,
mid 80s to early 90s, there was a lot going on down there.
yes, they would come and knock on our door and say, "You better get out. We're gonna kill you. We're gonna rape your daughter and your wife."
Oh, my
And
goodness.
they would threaten us with our lives almost daily. And I remember my dad coming home. He went to the convenience store and he was just dripping in blood, and he had gotten beaten up over like $20. I mean, we were poor as can be, and we lived in this house that was somehow it was rent free, so it was like. But I remember we had to move out like after like the fifth threat. We ended up moving out and into the church, and we lived in this small little room in the church, and the five of us, and yeah, we struggled a lot as a kid.
What a fascinating story. Heartbreaking, but I'm guessing that has made you pretty tough and focused too, getting
Yes.
through that, right?
Absolutely, yes. I am very, very tough and very, very focused. When I, make my mind up to do something, I have to complete it.
Yeah, and boy, have you done that. So take us a little bit closer to 30. Did you go to college?
I did not go to college. I wanted to, but like I said, being a minority, being poor,
Sure.
Most people that come from humble beginnings struggle to go to college, because you're trying to work.
Sure.
And trying and figure out a way to live. And so I did want to go to college, but I didn't have the chance. So, I went to high school here, Western High School, and
I would have gone to Western if we didn't move the year before I started high school. I went to Brindley Junior High, which is over by Western. So all of my friends from junior high went to Western, and then I ended up at Bonanza. But that's Western. So you were at Western in the mid 90s, late 90s?
I was, yes. And what's funny is we lived in these apartments close to Muni Golf Course.
Yes.
And I
Off
would,
of Washington or something?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I used to walk right by the golf course, right next to the golf course. And I never thought of becoming a golfer. I never was even curious.
Golf hadn't even entered your
No, I would just walk, and I don't think I even like looked. Maybe
noticed
just
yeah. That's wild. So what happens around 30 years old?
So, well, I have kids. I have 2 daughters that are almost 18 and almost 20 years old.
Nice.
So I have 2 daughters. But I wanted to try something new at that age. At that time, I was a master scuba diver. So my goal was to become a scuba instructor. And so I started taking up golf around that time and taking lessons. And I got hooked.
Got hooked fast.
Yes. And so I stopped my other passion, which was scuba diving.
Do you still do it anymore? Have
Not
you gotten back to it?
Not really, but if I go to like somewhere fabulous like Hawaii, I'll
Yeah, then you'll
obviously
go.
yes, book something and go scuba diving. But
That's so fun. So again, laser focused. You took a lesson and you got bit early. So even though you're young enough to be part of new golf, you're also old enough to have gotten in almost as a purist. It sounds like you just fell in love with the game.
yes, I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with just everything about the game, actually. In the beginning, I started just with lessons, so I wouldn't go to the range. I mean, I wouldn't go to the golf course and play.
And you started with an instructor.
Yes. So
Let's shout out your first instructor.
my first instructor is Jim Delaney, who's the head pro, or the director of golf at Southern Highlands.
Okay.
So he was my first swing coach. And so I always thank him for basically creating a monster.
Good description.
But he was amazing. I think just his way of teaching and his patience definitely helped me just stay in the game and stay encouraged. And yeah, I mean, he was just a great instructor. And so I started with lessons. I started with 1 or 2 lessons a month. And what I quickly realized about golf, that it's a repetitive swing or sport, right? You're
Yep.
repeating the same golf swing, the same putting stroke, same everything. So what I was on repetition. And so if you see me practicing on the range, I'm repeating the same stuff over and over and over again
That you've been doing from the beginning.
that I've been doing from the beginning. And
So
it's,
how long would you spend on the range in those early years?
well, back then I was healthy, and
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
yes, back then I was spending anywhere from 3 to 5 hours on the range.
Wow.
And it wasn't just like hitting.
That's intense.
And that wasn't just like hitting golf balls,
Right.
just without any
No,
intention.
that's working on your form.
Yes, I was doing drills. I'm very passionate about doing drills, so I'm always using a training aid, drills, and
Let's talk about one or two of your favorite ones at first, because I'm guessing you still probably do them in some form or another.
yes. So I mean, I think that we all know like what's our issues in our golf swing, right? So I've always had pretty much the same issues, that I struggle with, or the little monsters that come back,
Yeah.
that creep up eventually. So I get long and across. So I always like to use the ball and right in your
Positioning,
forearm.
yep.
Yes, to help with your plane, your what?
Yeah. Well, it
to help
helps with
swing,
a lot of things.
to help with your
plane.
swing plane, and so I like I said, I focus a lot on drills. There's another drill that I like to do. A lot of the drills look really stupid, to be honest with you, but I personally don't care. Like I'll go to the range and I don't care if I have 3 training drills that I'm doing or a training aid. I will keep doing that same ridiculous looking drill until it feels right to me. And so, I mean, there's like, for example, the 2-ball drill where you put the one ball in your club and then the next ball and you kind of push it back, just so your club doesn't get inside.
I haven't seen that drill. That sounds like a great
So
drill.
yeah, so during the takeaway, obviously you want to take the club face
Straight back, yep.
Yes. And so most people either take it too far out or too far in. So then you put your club looking or your club face looking at the ball that you're going to hit, and then you put the other one behind it.
And back that ball
and then
up
back
straight.
That ball
And then
up.
swing.
Yes. Or some people just pick up the club really quickly, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of helps with your swing plane in the first 3 feet of, your takeaway.
What a great drill. That's the first time a specific drill has been described on this show. So I feel like we might be in for a few firsts this week. It's so fun. So it was about 3 years until you started playing, or you moved up in T-box. Well, when did you start getting on the course?
I started getting on the course after a year of playing golf. And the reason why I waited was I didn't want to be that golfer or that woman that was holding up the play. So, and I didn't want to be embarrassed. I think
It's
most
a
people,
mix of respectful intimidation. Yeah, right.
Right.
There's a lot that goes into that, but we've definitely had golfers who were. I think just in the last week or two, we had someone say that they were afraid of the golf course at first.
I think most people are afraid.
Yeah.
And I think it's normal. I mean, anytime you try something new, it's normal to be afraid, and to be scared.
Yeah, and you're starting to keep score, which is a different thing to adjust to and get used to.
Yes.
So a year in, you start playing, and you start at the back tees. Why? Because you were hitting the ball pretty far?
First I started playing the forward tees, and then as I got better, I started going further back.
Because you got better fast.
Yes, exactly. So I think by year 3, I was playing the blacks, and I felt comfortable. I mean, back then, 11 years ago, I used to hit about 265. So I was pretty strong and, did a lot of weightlifting back then. So,
wow. So you went from a 40 handicap, I believe you said when you first started. 3 years in, you've moved back at least a tee or two. Mm-hmm. What's your handicap then? Roughly.
By then I was like a 15, 17.
So still not
handicap,
breaking 80.
No.
Until you started moving back up.
Yes, yes.
And why did you
Well,
why did you start doing that?
well, I didn't. I actually, when I started focusing more on my short game, is
Yeah, that's when most people get better.
it wasn't necessarily the fact that I was playing the back tees. It was that my short game wasn't good enough. And, I had the long game, but obviously accuracy is very important and also short game is very important. And so when I started focusing and taking lessons and focusing more on short game is when I started to see my handicap go lower.
Right. That's so awesome. Tell us then a little bit about after 3 years and how so you start going lower.
Yes.
And is that working on your short game? When's the first, I'm sure you had these goals. When was the first time you broke 80? Do you remember it?
Yes, because I actually have the scorecard.
Of course you do.
I broke 80 after 4 years. Yes.
That's so fast.
Yes.
That's
yes.
great.
And it's so funny because sometimes I don't remember these things, but back then I was still taking a lot of pictures of like my little goals and accomplishments in golf. And so they come up on my Facebook account and as memories.
Oh, that's fun. I love Facebook memories. I'm such a, we're also of the age that my kids don't use Facebook, but I used it a lot when it first came out, and the memories is my favorite part of that platform.
Yes.
To this day. That's cool. So now you break 80. Now your next goal is to try to get down to even par.
Yes.
Tell us about that quest and that journey,
actually,
because we only got about 3 years until you're a scratch golfer.
Yes. So it took me another 3 years to get down, basically to get down to par.
And how many different courses are you playing? Are you playing mostly at Southern Highlands?
No, I travel a lot and I play. So I call my handicap a traveling handicap. So, and that's what most people don't realize is that
You don't play the same course.
I don't play the same course, which makes it more difficult.
Of course. Yeah. and I love all of this. So, are you competing competitively around what time? Because I know we're getting to some fun stuff.
Around that time, I was already competitive. So I started competing after about 3 years of playing golf. And what was funny is I was still not very good, right? 2 or 3 years, I was already like playing in the little tournaments at Southern Highlands and ladies tournaments and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I remember the caddy would be like, okay, our goal was to make bogey because I had so many strokes.
Yeah.
So I was playing bogey golf,
Right. Yeah.
and I'm extremely competitive. So I was just like after it, you could just see it in my eyes and my face, like that tiger mentality.
That is so fun. That is so fun. So you were playing in different tournaments, and after about 3 years, when do you start saying, "Oh, I'm in the hunt to win these things"? Because you've won a few.
Yeah, yes, I won a few. I think by the time I was 4 or 5 years into it, that's when I started playing in the club championships. When I realized, okay, and I was still playing them. I just knew that I wasn't probably good enough, but I was still, playing in tournaments helps you stay focused, helps improve your golf game because you're practicing for something, right?
Right.
And so whether you're not good enough, you're still practicing, and that's any kind of practice is going to improve your game. Obviously, you want the right practice, but
Sure.
it's still going to improve your game.
Yeah. And you've won a few titles consecutively. So
Yes.
let's talk about how good you actually did start performing in these.
Yes. So Southern Highlands. The funny part about Southern Highlands is they actually didn't have a ladies club championship when I started playing golf. So they just started with the ladies club championship about 4 years ago. So when they started that, and I've been playing for 11 years.
Right.
So I could have had a couple more.
Yeah. Humble brag. I love it.
So they owe me a few trophies.
You hear that, Southern Highlands?
Three-time club champion at Southern Highlands. I'm no longer a member there, but it was 3 years consecutively. My lowest competitive round there actually was 72. Uh, Also, 3 year or at Red Rock Country Club, 3 years consecutively, and then wait, 2 years consecutively, and then I didn't win for about 3 years, and then I got it back 2 years. Well, 2 years consecutively. So
Yeah.
4 years there at Red Rock Country Club,
So you've won it back to back twice.
back to back twice.
Yeah, with
yes,
a gap in the
yes,
middle.
yes.
That is
yes.
so impressive.
And then I have 4 years consecutively at Sherwood Country Club.
Wow.
Yes.
Sherwood.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And then my lowest round there, that golf course is very difficult.
I was going to say, tell us how you ended up playing at Sherwood. Are you a member?
No longer a member. I was a member about a year and a half ago, and then I left my membership there. But my lowest round competitively was 77 there with a 9.
With a 9. Oh, you probably play that hole over in your head a couple times.
Oh, God. And what's worse is that I've actually made more birdies on that hole from the black tees. And obviously for the Women's Club Championship, they move us up to the forward
So
tees.
you almost had too much confidence going into the hole, maybe. That's wild. That's wild. When do you start focusing on social media? One of the things I was excited about for this is, Alejandra, you are someone who's really tied into everything. You're big on Instagram. You're big on all the platforms, but you have YouTube long form content that is a fun channel to watch. So we'll have all of these links in the description where you'll be able to go find all this. But you've got a TikTok. You've got them all. How did you start making golf content and then end up turning it into a business? Why don't you take us from A to Z on that journey?
Yes. So when I started playing golf, after about 2 years, that's when I decided to start sharing golf content. Back then, there wasn't a lot of golf content on social media, so my goal wasn't really to monetize it or anything like that, or become, I guess,
Golf Mommy.
Golf Mommy.
Great name, by the way.
My goal was to just share my love for something that I was just starting out. And then I noticed that people just started liking my content, and it was because I was putting an actual effort into the game of golf.
Right.
You know,
All of the female influencers and Shay like to use the term golf advocate, which I thought was interesting. The ones that have grown the largest are the ones who started taking their game seriously,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't just about taking pretty shots of pretty golf courses with pretty girls. It was more than that. Like,
Right.
you have that in your bag already, but when you start becoming serious about golf, it opens your audience up double or more. Right.
Because people appreciate that, right? We're
Yeah.
all trying to improve, and people appreciate somebody that's actually taking it serious.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's how it got started. And then after like maybe 5 years, as my social media is growing, and I realized that I could monetize it, so I was getting some deals here and there.
So did you work with people before you started your own brand, which is kind of what you have a course coming up that we'll talk about in a
Yes.
minute, but were you working with clubs or clothing lines or anything?
No, I wasn't really working with anyone at the time. I was just, brands reach out and they try and basically get you to collaborate by either wearing their golf apparel,
Yep.
their clubs, whatever it is, right? And you try and work out some sort of deal.
That's what Angel Park is doing right as we speak, right? Like that.
Except you're not paying me.
I get the idea. Well, correct.
So
we
I'll
don't
be
have
waiting.
that budget
I'll be
yet.
waiting for that check.
That's for Arcus, if any of them are watching these. No, but I get it because I've seen how that has helped everybody. One of the examples is the Golf Fathers Sunday Swagger. Once they came in and went from just sending them their clothes to helping monetize it and helping them put money into it, that's when they became legit.
Right.
And now they can see the path of where they're going.
Yes.
So that's an interesting step that a lot of people don't get to, that are great content producers. But so I'm fascinated by all of those relationships. So did you ever have a paid sponsor, or did you come up with your?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I didn't have anybody that was paying me for long periods of time. I have like small,
Quick deals.
deals. And unless somebody comes and like pays me crap
Right,
load of money,
yep.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to curse.
we're not supposed to curse on this show. That is also new from Arcus, and well, yeah, I
This is a golf show, for God's sakes.
I'm so glad you said that. But I'm getting better at editing, so if you pop one, don't worry about it. I'll take it out. But you have your own shop now, and tell us about all the cool stuff you're doing yourself.
Yes, as far as sponsorships and ambassadorships, I am a PXG ambassador. So I've been working with PXG for a year already, and they've been great, amazing. And
so do you play all PXG clubs then?
Yes, I play all PXG clubs. Yes,
Yeah.
and they're just a great company to work for.
Yeah, that's so fun.
yeah.
We have a couple other people working with or trying to work with PXG in town, and that's a great brand, and they're putting a lot into this too. This kind of avenue of social media being their biggest advertiser.
Which is smart. I mean, because if you think about it, the people that follow me, they have followed me for so long that they know me and they trust me.
Right.
And so if I say that something works, they're going to trust me that it's true.
Yeah.
I'm not a bullshit. I will tell you exactly what I'm thinking and exactly the truth.
Yeah.
So, the truth is the Gen 6s are amazing. The driver's great. You couldn't get me out of my pink.
That's great.
and after the Gen 6, I was like, okay, see you later. I can put it away now.
Well, PXG will be dropping all of your stuff in the bottom too. Thank you for helping her, because now you've gotten to do your own company and your own brand. So
Yes.
Tell us how the idea started and what it all is.
Yes, so I'm in the process of opening an indoor golf facility here in Summerlin, in Las Vegas. And I've had this vision for the last 2 years. And so finally it's come to fruition, and hopefully opening in December. And so it's going to be amazing. So the idea and vision came from my own story, my own golf story. And so, learning how to play golf late in life, I developed a chronic bone condition after 2 years of playing golf.
Yeah, we had to get to that.
Yes. And so a lot of people don't know that I struggle with a lot of pain on a daily basis. And so,
Yeah, I had written down what it was, and I didn't bring it in my notes. But what's
Yes.
the specific
so
definition?
I have, it's called osteitis pubis, which is an inflammation of the pubic symphysis.
Right, where you don't have cartilage.
So there's barely any cartilage, so my bones rub against each other, causing excruciating pain.
Extreme pain.
Yes, so something so simple like walking can be very painful for me. So after standing for a long period of time or walking for a long period of time, I can be in a lot of pain. So, my practice time of 5 hours is no longer
Right.
an option.
Yeah, you have to guide your time better, right?
Yes.
More efficiently. What do you take medication? Do you just work on stretching? Are there any remedies that you do that you find help you?
So I've had this condition for about almost 9 years now, and I've basically seeked out every type of doctor for it. I've been to numerous doctors. They told me to stop playing golf. Another doctor said, Stanford, that he could fuse the bones together, but then I'd have to take 3 months off, be in a wheelchair for 3 months, and then learn how to walk. And so
Oof.
I said no to that. So I don't take any pain medication. So I just kind of just deal with it.
So when you need a break, you just rest.
When I need a break, I will let you know. I will either stop playing golf, or I will tell you I can no longer play golf because my body hurts so much to the point that I can no longer swing a golf club. And you'll notice it too. I'll go from
and that's got to be the worst part of your day or round or
Yes.
practice session. I can't imagine knowing you're on a clock and just waiting for it. And then when
Right.
it hits, it's got to be so frustrating.
Yes, I mean-
on top of being painful.
Right. I mean, there are days where I wake up feeling great. I go to the golf course, and after 9 holes, I'm like, oh my God, it's starting. You know, I'm in pain. And so, so it just, you never know what you're going to get. You know, sometimes I have no pain at all. So what I do now is a lot of physical therapy. Right now, I'm actually seeing Troy Van Beesen, who is the performance coach for Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, and
Oh,
he's
wow.
also worked with Tiger Woods. And so I'm flying to Dallas right now, one to two times a month, to see him.
You are so tapped in. Oh my goodness. This is such a great story.
Yes.
And so he's helping you.
So he's helping me. He actually is one of the only doctors that has figured out why my condition hasn't gotten better. And so he said that usually the condition that I have, the max that it can last is a year. He says after a year, it usually goes away with good therapy and treatment. And so a lot of golfers, we all have the same issues. We all have either if you're a righty, you have what do you call it? Your right side of your body is weak.
Oh,
So-
one side over
Yeah.
the other.
So then you have parts of your body that are making up for it. So my lower back, other muscles that are pulling in, that are pulling, and so that's the reason why my condition hasn't gotten better, because my other muscles are pulling in other ways that they shouldn't, and so it's aggravating that condition even more.
Right, because the muscles are working in ways they shouldn't be, and the muscles that aren't working is the cause of that aren't getting worked at all either.
Yes.
So that's what he's helping you learn how to do?
Yes. So we're basically we're doing certain stretches for my condition. We're doing treatment, so he adjusts my body accordingly. And then basically he gives me treatments for the whole entire week and month. And so I do those specific exercises every single day.
Well, I was going to say, knowing your background, you probably attack this pretty professionally and regimented.
Yes, yes. And so that, along with, I've been working with this company called Incrediwear. And it was recommended by one of my friends here in Vegas who knows about my condition. And he's like, it's a compression garment. He says, but it has these elements in the garment that as soon as you put it on your skin, your blood flow starts circulating. So it helps with
Oh.
inflammation and whatnot. And, you know, you're skeptical about all those things, right?
Well,
And
a little
so-
bit, but I have atrophy in my feet, and so I often wear compression socks. So I get it. I mean,
Right.
it does help me
It
feel
does help,
better.
exactly.
Yeah. So I don't think that all of that is mumbo jumbo at
Yeah,
all.
so I started, my right adductor gets really tight and painful, and I'm constantly going like this and, you know, pushing it. And I started wearing the leg sleeve. So on my recent social media posts in the last 2 months, I've been wearing the leg sleeve. And people are like, why are you wearing that? Is your leg injured? It's actually been helping.
Yeah.
And
There are athletes that do it in every sport. I'm surprised people don't think it's legit. I mean, I'm sure there is a placebo effect that it helps you feel a little bit better, so you get more confidence.
Right.
I mean, it's probably a little bit of both, but I absolutely believe that
yes,
that works.
so I started wearing that, and then they have a garment that you wear on your waist. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to start wearing it on the golf course. And normally when I'm playing on the golf course, I'm either in pain during the golf round, and then I'm usually in pain after the round.
Right.
And I noticed that I wasn't in pain. So they're like, you need to wear more, and you need to wear it while you sleep. And I started wearing more often. And now my body's actually starting to feel a lot better. So along with the treatments that I'm getting with Troy and the Incrediwear, I'm like this.
So you're not cured, but you feel like you might be working towards that.
I'm feeling way better.
That is great.
So I'm ready for a match against you. and even if I was in pain, I'd still.
You're ready to go? Well, my golf story is interesting. I'll tell you after the show. But so tell us about your shop and your performance
Yes,
space
so
in Summerlin, because you were saying that it's modeled for both people who have pain, both people who are getting into golf later.
Yes.
And you probably want to focus mostly on practice at first, right?
Yes, yes. So, like I said, it's based on my story, and that's where the concept came from. Me just trying to figure out where to go. You know, I was going to all these different places, including now I'm going to Dallas for physical therapy,
Right.
right? So, so if I had a place that focuses on everything for the golfer, that would make it so much more easier for me. It's convenient. I'm saving a lot of money and time.
Yeah.
And so, you know, my swing coach is or was in North Las Vegas because I went from Jim Delaney to Jay Gilmer in North Las Vegas. So
Shout out Jay.
Jay Gilmer in North Las Vegas. I was going to physical therapy in Henderson. You know, all these places. And so that's where the vision of Golf Proformance came to be. A place where it encompasses everything for the golfer. So you'll be able to get golf instruction. There'll be 7 golf simulators, lounge. You can lounge, have fun, whatever.
This sounds
Mingle
awesome.
with friends. There's going to be a gym, so you can train like the professionals do. And then physical therapy, chiropractic work, sports massage, infrared saunas, and a women's only pro shop.
Wow, so you're doing it up. You're doing it right.
I'm doing it big time.
Women's only golf shop.
That's right, ladies.
That is so awesome. Oh my gosh. We've just started to have female guests on the show, and I'm getting a lot of feedback from female golfers that are like, I've liked your show, but not nearly as much as when you have women on, because we hear all of the both frustrations and the goals and the ways that you want to make golf more accessible or better for females. I just think all of that is so cool.
Yeah, there's going to be some unique elements to the facility. There's going to be a lot of stuff for women, obviously, because I'm the founder and CEO of it. So I want to make sure that the ladies are taken care of. And there are things that are missing from most golf facilities, actually, that don't focus on beginner golfers and things that we need as beginners. And so there's going to be some really cool elements to the Institute.
That is awesome. I'm looking forward to when that opens, because Arcus has what's called 4 pillars that are important to them above all else with their company, and golf is only one of them. Health and wellness is one that they really want to focus on too. So I can't wait until you open that, and if we can help or work with you in any way, we are definitely going to want to be involved in that, because that's the type of stuff that we're into.
Yeah, and imagine, I mean, having a place where you say, my shoulder hurts, right? Your golf instructor knows that your shoulder hurts. Your fitness instructor knows that your shoulder hurts. Your physical therapist knows that your shoulder hurts.
But none of them are working together.
But none of them are working together. Now we have everybody working together, and the goal is to help you improve in your physical, your health, and also your golf game.
So fun. And Proformance, tell me again the full title.
Golf Proformance Institute, Pro.
Golf Proformance Institute. Yes. Also so clever. Your everything about your branding and your story, I just, even when it's a typo, I think is so interesting and catchy.
Yeah, the Proformance is not a typo.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's so good. How'd you come up with Golf Mommy? I'm assuming just because your kids call you Mommy?
Well, Mami, M-A-M-I,
Yeah.
is actually a Spanish term.
Right.
And it's used in many settings, actually, as a mom. So we call our moms Mami. But also, if you have like a significant other, it's almost like a word of endearment.
Yeah.
Like honey.
Sure.
So it has double meaning.
All
Yes.
those meanings.
Yes.
Well, I was obviously tuned into Poppy much earlier, thanks to David Ortiz and Poppy Lebitard, two of my
Yes.
favorite characters in sports. And so I got what the reference was. I just thought it was really clever, because I think you're the only person doing something as simple as your account names.
Yes, yes.
Which is so fun. What happens when you start playing with your golf consumption? Did you start watching a lot of golf early, paying attention to tours, men's, women's? What did you start watching? How did you consume golf? Because some people really got into YouTube stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of ways.
I actually started watching the Golf Channel.
Yeah.
A lot. I'd wake up, the
Just
golf,
the Golf
channel
Channel was
was
on,
on
instead of the
all
news or
day,
whatever, yeah.
all day. And I paid really close attention to what the pros were doing. So I always say, mimic the pros, right? And I think a lot of amateurs, we tend to not do that. We don't, we don't take a practice swing. We don't have a putting or a chipping routine, or we don't have a routine at all.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, if the pros are doing it, why aren't you not doing it? If the pros are practicing, they practice for a reason.
Yep.
Why are you not practicing? Are you a pro?
Oh, that's so good.
I'm sorry, but
No,
I'm a little
don't
sarcastic.
apologize.
I'm sarcastic, but it's true.
And it's 100%
If
true.
Tiger Woods practice, why am I not practicing?
Right.
Doesn't make sense.
That is so cool. So Golf Channel. So do you have, do you watch majors? Do you have favorite players?
I do have favorite players, and I watch majors, all majors.
All the majors.
I am, yes.
Most golfers have to watch all the majors.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm on the app. If I'm not watching it, I'm on the app, on the golf course. If it's a major, I have the Masters,
Live
right?
streaming,
Live
yep.
streaming. Yes,
That's a golfer trait.
I mean, I'm screaming at the TV.
Yep.
Yes. My daughters are like, oh God. Like,
That
I'm like, Tiger Woods.
those are my
yes.
favorite answers. And whoever's playing well that week, I gravitate towards some more than others, but I find myself, whoever's playing well, or the guy that's 3 back that I like, I'm really rooting for someone every week.
Yes.
And it's fun because you're not rooting against the other guys.
No.
It's always a good story at the
Right,
end.
absolutely.
But it is fun to always have a favorite
Yes.
every week that you're rooting for, like you would your sports team.
Oh, absolutely. When Ricky Fowler was leading the U.S. Open.
Just a few months ago.
Yes, I'm a big Ricky Fowler fan, and I think a lot of people are.
He comes up a lot on this show.
Yes, and so when he missed that, what was it, like 3-foot putt on 18?
Yeah.
I was just like, I was so devastated, but I'm like, okay, we got this, Ricky.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was playing with him.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. You were not alone. That's so fun. Difficult question, maybe. If you have to think about it, please do. But are there any things that you, over the last 10 years, haven't liked about golf, or wished you could change about golf? Do you have 1 or 2 of those that you'd like to speak on?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of, obviously I learned how to play golf in a country club, and
So etiquette, rules.
yes,
the
yes,
game.
yes, absolutely. And so I've been a member of some of the most beautiful golf courses and country clubs, and there's still a lot of issues within the country club world, and myself being a minority Mexican, people just kind of see you like you don't belong there.
That's where you fit into this median age. I'm a little older than you, but
How much older?
no,
I'm not
no,
that young.
well, yeah. If I had to guess, I'm about 7 or 8 years older than you. But
So we're not sharing ages.
we can. I'm 48.
Okay, I'm 41.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
okay.
I got it right, because I knew if that 30 was X amount of years ago. So I think that it's interesting. Our demographic came up as purists, and also see the challenges that a lot of the new golfers coming in are their biggest frustrations. That golf needs to be a little bit more accessible, or embracing of minorities, of everyone. Anybody who wants to come have fun playing golf, you don't have to do it a certain way. Just please come enjoy it. That's the
Right.
important part,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I love about the phrase golf advocate, because
Right.
that's what I believe you are, and I am, and people who, you love the game. We'll get to the easy question in a minute, but there are things about the game that could be better.
Oh,
always.
absolutely. I mean, I've had my moments where I could have quit playing because and it's mostly the women that are not as, like you say, embracing. And
That's interesting at the country club
and
level.
it's actually really sad to see that, because a lot of them, they want to grow the game, and they actually don't.
Right.
And and it's mostly just their mannerisms or the way they act, or
And a lot of it's their age too, right? I think that, or maybe this is too strong of a word, or privilege. Like they want to grow the game, but they tend to want to grow the game for people like them. Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, when I played at Sherwood, and I mean, the first year that I started playing in the club championship, the ladies tried to get me disqualified. And they're like, "Well, why is she allowed to play golf? She hasn't been a member here for a while and whatnot." And every year they try to get me disqualified. And it's happened usually in every club that I've been a member. Something,
Wow.
you know, and it's just really sad.
It's
It's really sad because I'm glad that I'm a strong person, but also just because I'm strong doesn't mean that I don't get hurt, you know, that my emotions don't get hurt. And so, you know, I could have quit at any point in time. And so I try and remember that when there's a new golfer and try and be encouraging. And I was actually thinking about this last night. I was playing at Pelican Hill just a
beautiful golf course.
just a few weeks ago, and I was hitting golf shots for the golfers. And this lady was there as a staff member to help me with the charity. And we're on the tee box on a par 3, and she's looking around. And I'm like wondering, what is she looking? And she's like, "Where's the hole?" And we're on the tee box. And instead of me like laughing and making her feel bad about it, it was like, I'm like, "It's over there." And she's like, "Oh, wow." And so it was my time to help her and show her something, right?
Right.
So the whole day, she was just amazed at the fact that the shots that I was hitting from 189 yards, they gave me the toughest hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was my chance to show her, "Listen, you see all these men playing?" I says, "They're not that great."
Ain't that the truth?
And so she saw some hacks out there, and I said, "You can become a really good golfer if you practice."
Yeah.
Because a lot of these guys don't like to practice.
Great
And
message.
so instead of me, you know, making her feel bad or laughing like, "Oh, you don't know crap," or, you know, it was my time to make her feel like she wasn't, you know, inadequate.
Yeah.
And I mean, and she felt bad. She's like, "I'm sorry if I'm asking all these dumb questions." But I had those same dumb questions when I started playing golf.
Yep. Everybody did.
And so I think we all forget where we came from, right? We're not professional golfers.
Right.
So why are we acting like we're like so much better than everybody else?
That's one of the lessons where our golf stories do overlap a little bit. I learned very early that I was never going to be a pro, and it helped me enjoy and embrace the game so much more. Once I just realized I don't want to. Maybe if I worked super hard at it, I could get lucky and compete, but probably wasn't going to happen. And I didn't want to work that hard anyway. So it allowed me to enjoy the game more. Mm-hmm. And there are different strokes. Everybody's different. But as long as they're enjoying the process, I think that's all that matters.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
So you being welcoming instead of almost snooty about it, I think is fabulous. And thank you for that. I'm sure if she didn't thank you, she absolutely meant to, or
she was encouraged after we were done.
Yeah, that's great. So the easier question, and maybe it's only difficult because it's hard to pick just one, and they change. But right now, what's your favorite thing about golf?
My favorite thing is the competitiveness and also the mindset. I don't think a lot of people realize how much effort and how much thinking a single shot, how much thinking you have to do before you actually hit the one shot.
You like the continuous chess match in your head with yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think of everything, you know, and I look at everything. And so, you know, the wind, you have to calculate the wind, downhill, uphill, you know, how the hole is playing, course management, you know, what's going to be your best or your worst, or best or worst miss, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's so many components to just hitting the one good shot. I
love that you're aware and able to identify all those different things? Because some people, me included, it was too much almost because all of those things are out there. So when you're getting ready to swing, and you've thought about all that, do you dial down and focus on one thing or two things, or do you just say, I've done the preparation, just get up and do my practice swing and swing? Do you have anything you think about during the round?
Yes. So, I mean, obviously, when you're pulling up to a certain hole, you already know what that hole is doing, unless you're playing a new golf course, right? But if it's a golf course that I've played numerous times, I already know, like, okay, what side of the tee box I'm going to aim. Where am I going to aim? I play a draw, so I focus, okay, more on the right side if I'm going to draw it in. And so there's a lot of thinking before I hit the tee shot.
But during your swing, do you have one thing you think about or nothing?
During my swing, I either think of one thing or nothing.
And it could be just whatever you're working on at
whatever
that time.
I'm working
maybe it's
at,
tempo, or maybe it's
yes.
it's a
It's
certain
pressure,
function of your swing.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. The best are thinking. All they're thinking about during the swing is either nothing or how they're shaping the shot, how they want to hit the ball differently than because there are different ways to hit every club.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's really interesting too. Alejandra, this was fun.
Thank you.
Did you have a good time?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So this is the end of the first segment of our show. We do a second segment right now that we call our Par 5 of questions, where we ask the same 5 questions to every guest each week and come up with different answers, more to talk about, and they're fun for me. So are you ready?
Okay, hold on. Let me
Let's take a drink. Let's go.
There's no alcohol in this.
There's no alcohol in this either. I am sober, actually. So, okay, question number 1, tee shot. What's your favorite golf movie?
Shoot. I have the worst memory.
Yeah? So you don't necessarily have one.
No, I do, but what's it? The best game ever played.
The greatest game ever
played. Yes. Yes. Okay, the Sevi one.
Sevi?
Yes.
Get out of here. I just got goosebumps. The only person who has said the Sevi documentary is my father. When I had him on for Father's Day, that's his.
Yes.
So, and he watches these, so he's going to be tickled to hear you say that.
I watched it numerous amount of times, and it makes me cry every single time.
He gets choked up, and we went through some of it in a previous episode. But for those who didn't see that episode, tell us a little bit about what about his story moves you to tears.
Well, he obviously came from very humble beginnings, and I relate to that. And then just him trying to play this game, and his parents telling him that he was not going to be able to do anything with golf, right? You can't make money. I mean, like I said, when you're poor, all you're thinking is about making money. So he could have been a factory worker.
Yeah.
And he just stuck to his...
Kept playing
and kept practicing. And he's one of the greatest players ever. I mean... He's
the one who ended up taking the Ryder Cup away from the United States. You know, Europe's been so dominant in the last 30 years. And Sevi started that.
Yeah, and it was just really sad. I mean, to watch, obviously, how he passed and, the struggles that he had in the game.
And in life, I mean, he struggled with women.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a very super interesting and charismatic character. And wow, I'm so glad you said that. That's great. You have a better memory than you think. Question number 2, shot number 2. What's your favorite golf club in your bag right now, and why?
My driver.
Snap answer. I love that.
Yes.
Has it been mostly for most of your career?
Yes, absolutely. It's one of my most consistent clubs, and I can rely on it almost 99.9% of the time.
That's what makes you great, is because the driver can be very finicky, even for the best tour pros. driver is to have that amount of control and consistency in it. I mean, puts you a step ahead of,
No,
of
I
everybody.
hit a lot of fairways.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
great. Oh, how fun. And again, your PXG driver that you love now?
Yes.
What is it?
Gen 6.
The Gen 6.
Yes.
All right, you hear that? Now we're doing free promos. It's mostly her, but the Gen 6 doesn't hurt. Question number 3, my favorite question. You may need to take a minute for this one, but I'm going to give you your dream foursome. So you can play golf with any 3 people, alive or dead, golfers or not, any 3 people. Who are you going to pick to play with, and where are you going to play that round?
Ooh, okay. I'm going to pick Tiger Woods because I'm a big fan of Tiger Woods.
Most popular answer.
Yes. Sebi.
Love it.
Yes.
Yep.
I think that would be amazing. Angel Jimenez.
Yes. I love
Miguel.
him too. He's still doing it at like 55.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Oh, that's a character-driven group.
Yes.
And those are 2 guys that both older than Tiger, but I can imagine wouldn't be afraid of Tiger. You know, like most of the players coming up with Tiger or after Tiger were.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Where would you play?
Augusta National.
Of course.
Yes. So if you're a member, call me.
Do you hear that? Once our reach gets big enough, we're going to re-promote this and we're going to get you to Augusta.
And
Yeah.
I will walk.
Augusta
I
wasn't
will
mentioned
crawl,
early.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
No, now it's been mentioned quite a few times, and that's my favorite answer actually. So that's cool. Question number 4. What's your aiming fluid? So I know you pointed out that you don't have alcohol today, but do you drink on the course, or is it all water and Gatorade, or performance drinks? What are you drinking when you're out on the course?
It's mostly water.
Yeah.
I'm pretty boring.
Yeah, and it's the heat.
Yes.
We get water as an answer as often as alcohol. Yeah, or more.
I don't play better when I drink. I
Right.
play worse.
Right. So
So-
you avoid it.
Yes, because
Even though you're a casual or a social drinker, you not on the golf course.
No, very rarely. I mean, you can make me drink, but I will not drink excessively on the course.
Yeah, and that's an interesting dynamic too. When you said earlier it's a golf show, there's a history of the ties between alcohol and golfers, and how some believe, and it's been proven that having a few drinks on the golf course makes them better until they have too much.
Yeah.
And then there are some people that say, nope, it makes my game worse, and so I don't do it.
Well, what's funny is, the Summit has these margaritas. Those make me feel good.
So I haven't had the chance to play Summit yet. Beautiful golf course way out west. Tell us about their margaritas.
They have this margarita machine, and I'm telling you,
They come out perfect.
that's the only. And I will have 2 of them.
Yeah. And
And I am feeling good on the back 9. I don't even care what I shoot.
see, you can mix them together. I love that. So when you're looking to just have a very pleasant back 9, you will have a couple margaritas.
Yeah.
That's great. Question number 5. I think I know the answer to this, but it's always fun to ask. Your temper or frustration on the golf course. Have you ever thrown a club? Have you ever snapped a club? That might be embarrassing to admit. I'm just curious.
I've not done any of that, actually.
Never.
I curse.
Yeah.
That's about the extent.
That used to be our 5th question, was what word, because golfers have a word.
Yeah, I used to say the F word.
Yeah.
You know?
And that was the most popular
That's my go-to
answer.
word.
and why we had to lose the last question. But no, I think that in and of itself is a way to blow off steam.
Yes.
And help you move to the next shot, which is the most important
I
thing.
mean, I can control my temper, which is funny to say for a Latina.
Yeah, so not necessarily outside of golf?
Oh, no. I'm feisty.
Shay's answer when I asked her if she was stubborn was like 100%. So I like that you just said
Yeah.
I'm feisty.
Yeah,
That's fun.
I'm a Taurus too, so I'm very stubborn.
That
Yeah.
is great. That is great. I had such a good time. Thank you
you.
so
I
much for
appreciate it.
coming on.
Yes.
Really appreciate it. Want to point out to the females that are watching, I want more of you on the show. I've reached out to many of you who are still a little nervous and camera shy. We'll go gentle on you, and it's just fun to hear your stories too. So thank you for coming in. Thank you for watching. Until next time, we'll see you next week. Hit 'em straight from your friends at Angel Park. Cheers.